So question 5, we've got our classic inverse function. This means the inverse of the function of g. So, say g, well actually we probably could draw it out, couldn't we, from the information we've got. We don't have to, so again, I'm just kind of waxing lyrical. Feel free to skip ahead if you don't want to hear this, but that looks like the equation of a straight line to me, where y is negative 2x plus 6. So it's crossing the axis at 6, and it's coming down at a gradient of negative 2. Okay, so it's doing something like that. Now, the inverse of that function will be reflected along the y is equal to x along this 45-degree line. So if you took your head to the right, it would help you draw out something like, I'll do this in another colour, we'll do red. So the inverse function is probably doing something like this. They'll meet on that line, and then we'll go through like that ish. Yeah, so that'll be the inverse function. So if that's the g of x, then that's g to the negative 1 of x. Okay, just to try and get it in your head what's happening. Okay, so that's what we mean when we talk about inverses. And what's happening there is that x and y has been switched around. So on this line g of x, we said that was 0 on the x and 6. That means on this one we would have over here 6 and 0. We just flip around our x's and our y's. Okay, so just a wee bit of background on it. So the first one is determine the inverse, and all that means we have to do is rearrange. Okay, so I would first of all say that y is 6 take away 2x, and then we're just rearranging to make x the subject. So we take away 6 from both sides, so I need to take away 6. Where's my rubber gone? Take away 6 from both sides, give me negative 2x, and then divide by the negative 2 to equal x. And then we'll just finish off by saying g to the negative 1x is therefore equal to x over 6 divided by negative 2. So, not a lot in that. You're getting your 2 marks for the first bit where you're saying we're going to rearrange and then finish. So the finished expression, you'll get a mark, and starting to rearrange, you're going to get a mark as well. Just don't forget to use the correct terminology, or g negative 1, and replace that y with the x as well. So a mark for starting to kind of shift it around, and then a mark for your final. But yeah, just think about what that means, when you're doing the inverse. So, all it means is x is y and y is x, effectively. So if you were to say right there an expression for, I put the inverse into the actual function, I'm just going to end up right back where I started. So for b, very simply, you're going to end up with x. You're just going to end up right back. But say you don't believe me, you would feel free to put this function in here, and you should end up just rearranging. It'll become x. But yeah, if you undo the opposite, you're right back to where you started. So that's what we want to remember. The inverse. If you put the inverse into the function, you'll end up right back where you started with x, and you'll get a tick for that. Hope that's helpful.